Hello, 2020. We begin our look at sports with a wrap to the NFL season here in the Big Apple. We'll start with Big Blue and Week 17. Giants taking on the Eagles in Week 17 during a rain-soaked afternoon at MetLife Stadium. With a win, Philly punches their ticket to the postseason. The game would be largely uneventful early with both teams trading field goals. But with just under 2 minutes to go in the first half, Carson Wentz connects with Josh Perkins for a 24-yard TD pass. Giants rookie corner DeAndre Baker is late on the play. Eagles take a 10-3 lead into the break. We go to the fourth quarter, game tied at 17 on 3rd and 10. Wentz's pass to Greg Ward Jr. is broken up. With a chance to take the lead, kicker Jake Elliott lines up for the 50-yard field goal and sails it through the uprights. That's when the Eagles would turn up the intensity on defense. On first down, Daniel Jones is sacked by Derek Barnett for a 3-yard loss. Next possession, with the play clock winding down, Jones bobbles the snap, knocked loose by Malcolm Jenkins, and recovered by Fletcher Cox, just short of a score. And the Eagles take a team photo to commemorate the play. At the goal line, Philly caps off the turnover with a 2-yard rushing touchdown handed off to Boston Scott. Eagles take a 27-17 lead. The Boston Scott show would continue with 7:10 remaining. Scott takes the short pass, avoids 2 tackles, jukes, and spins his way to a 39-yard gain, finally taken down at the 2-yard line. Next play, Scott finishes the job. Touchdown. Once the 5th option at running back for Philly, Boston Scott outscores the Giants single-handedly, finishing with 138 all-purpose yards and 3 touchdowns. Eagles win 34-17 en route to the division title and a trip to the postseason. Strong rookie season for QB Daniel Jones. As for Eli Manning, his birthday today certainly looks like we have seen the last of him with the Giants. He said he'll either retire or play elsewhere next season. Giants backup, not an option. We've also seen the last of Pat Shurmur. He was fired. The Giants retained GM Dave Gettleman and are now searching for a new head coach. Meanwhile, the New York Jets concluded their regular season in a 13-6 victory over playoff-bound Buffalo Sunday. The last time we saw them, the home finale, Gang Green posted a 16-10 win against Pittsburgh. We go back inside the locker room for more.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was, early on in the year it was still all new to us, new scheme, new offense, learning each other as players, coaches still learning the players, and just trying to get into that rhythm. We've been through ups and downs all year, but we continue to battle. Obviously we had a few losses, but and a few wins, but it's still the same team, same energy level, same effort level. We don't take a step back. We look forward to each week. For one game coming up, I don't expect no letdowns.
Marcus May don't get a lot of credit, obviously. He's very underrated. People don't give him his respect, but he works his butt off each and every day, man. He comes out and he competes. So, you know how I feel about him, man.
I feel great. I mean, our defense, the way they've been stepping up in huge moments for us this year has been outstanding. I mean, can't say enough great things about them. Special teams has been great. On offense, we did our job when we needed to. Some plays that, we'd like to have back, but it was good to get a win.
Sam, Sam always impresses me, man. He continued to get better. That last drive when we got the field goal in the fourth quarter, that was huge. Because we really put a lot on him. Because those guys, they start going base against our Kings personnel. So they was really trying to stop the run and make sure that we had to put the ball in the air. And Sam was delivering. The offensive line did a great job protecting them. Sam made decisive decisions, got the ball out of his hands. The receivers outside made plays when they needed to. Crowder, Vincent, everybody. So everybody that was called upon today, West Coast, they made the play. That's what we needed. Yeah.
No Giants, no Jets in the playoffs, but we'll see those Bills and Houston Saturday in the early game, New England and Tennessee in the nightcap, and then Minnesota New Orleans Sunday afternoon, and those Eagles and Seattle in the late game Sunday. Wild card weekend. Don't look now, but the 10-24 New York Knicks have crept to within 5 games of the 8th seed in the East, with January, February, March, and April ahead of them. Armed with their first 3-game win streak of the season, the Knicks get the Phoenix Suns tonight on the West Coast swing. Then the trip turns ferocious with games against both Los Angeles powerhouses before wrapping up in Utah. It is part of a 16-game January, the team's busiest month of the season. Interim head coach Mike Miller, who is 6-6 since taking over, has had a softer schedule than predecessor David Fizdale did. Knicks top Portland 117-93 Wednesday night, and Carmelo Anthony's second return to the Garden since his days in orange and blue, his first with the Blazers. He posted a season-high 26 points, but it wasn't enough. Here's more with Melo.
The love was definitely felt tonight. From the fans that was here, from just the city as a whole, just being back. I think that feeling is kind of hard to explain. But for me to kind of get that ovation and just, I think I've always, had the love from the city like that. But to be back in this building where I spent so many years, and that love felt extremely good tonight.
We'll have the game that turned the Knicks season around on Monday's Open. Conversely, it may have been the game that got the Brooklyn Nets into their latest funk. Nets fell at Dallas Thursday night on the road, 123-111, come from behind win for the Mavs. Still no Kyrie Irving for the Nets, but somehow the injured guard has 4 times more All-Star votes than Spencer Dinwiddie, who has performed exceptionally well in his absence. We'll also have more on the Kyrie invite on Monday's Open. From the NBA hardwood to the baseball hot stove, Dellin Betances is changing baseball zip codes but still staying here in New York. The former Yankee All-Star was introduced by the New York Mets Thursday morning. Here's more.
Dellin Betances. He's one of the most accomplished and dominant relief pitchers in Major League Baseball. As you'll see here in a couple of minutes, he's an imposing figure. He's got size, he's got strength, and he's got swagger when he takes the mound.
Definitely a lot of things that I'm excited about. I've heard a lot of great things about the organization from Brody, a lot of the staff that I've spoke to. My goal is to win, and I'm gonna do the best I can to win. As I've said in my social media posts, New York is in my blood, I grew up playing in the Lower East Side. I went to high school in Brooklyn. In 2007, I played minor league ball in Staten Island. In 2011, I made my major league debut in the Bronx, and now I stand here, getting the chance to wear this Mets uniform and playing in Queens. So thank you guys for everything.
If healthy, Betances should definitely improve that Mets bullpen in 2020. Time for some quick hitters. David Stern, the 30-year commissioner who molded the shape of the modern NBA into a global iconic brand, died from the brain hemorrhage he suffered 3 weeks ago in a New York restaurant. He was 77. Stern passed away early on New Year's Day. As did New York Yankees great Don Larson. More on the imperfect, perfect Yankee in the C-list. Stay tuned. Back on the NBA hardwood, Zion Williamson is not making his NBA debut in the next few days, but things are getting closer, according to reports. Williamson practiced with the team on Thursday, his first with New Orleans since his surgery. While there is no timeline for his return yet, he said he was just happy to be back out there. We're happy the #1 pick is playing too. Can't say the same for Yankees starter Domingo Germán. He will miss the first 63 games of the 2020 season as part of his suspension for a domestic incident last year. On top of the 18 games served at the end of last season, it's one of the most significant suspensions for domestic violence MLB has levied. In college football, we will see Heisman winner Joe Burrow in the national championship game. The matchup of LSU and Clemson pits this season's most relentless relentless juggernaut against this decade's most unstoppable program. It's a collision of Burrow and LSU's pinball offense and Clemson's relentless 29-game winning streak. Number 1 LSU has opened up as 6-point favorites against number 3 Clemson. That's a massive compliment to LSU, considering that Clemson hasn't lost a game since January 1st of 2018. Clemson took care of number 2 Ohio State to reach the title game. Number 1 LSU crushed Oklahoma. Check this score, 63-28 to meet number 3 Clemson. Too many bowl games, not enough time in this segment, but we'll recap the New Era Pinstripe Bowl on Monday's Open 2. That game was played at Yankee Stadium the Friday after Christmas. On the ice, the Rangers were clipped 4-3 by Calgary Thursday night, while the New Jersey Devils edged the New York Islanders 2-1 out at Nassau Coliseum. Rangers skate in Vancouver Saturday. Devils return to Newark to host Colorado Saturday. The Isles are in Toronto Saturday. Those are the headlines. We hit the C-list to pay tribute to Don Larson. Don Larson became an unlikely legend in 9 perfect innings. For many of you, myself included, that comes a long time before we were born. Larson's singular accomplishment, a perfect game in the 1956 World Series, is a testament to the whims of baseball. He remains the only man to ever do it. Larson, who died on Wednesday at age 90, was hardly the greatest pitcher ever. He played for 7 teams in 14 seasons with 81 victories and 91 defeats. A year after his perfect game, he lost Game 7 of the Fall Classic to the Milwaukee Braves. Yet all these years later, Larson's 2-0 masterpiece for the Pinstripers remains a phenomenon. No pitcher has carried even a no-hitter into the 9th inning of a World Series game since. Larson lived the rest of his life as a baseball immortal. Larson's perfecto was the only one between 1922 and 1964. No perfect game was tossed the entire decade of the 70s. 2 other Yankees, David Wells in 1998 and David Cohen in 1999, remarkable when you think about it, have done it, and Larson had a connection to both. Larson and Wells both attended Point Loma High School in San Diego, and Larson threw the ceremonial first pitch to Yogi Berra on the day of Cohen's gem. He may not be a Hall of Famer, but for one day, no one was better than Don Larson on a baseball mound. And for it to come at Yankee Stadium in pinstripes and in the World Series, no less, it's pretty hard to fathom a more perfect day for a man who always said that he was anything but. That's your sports. I'm Bobby C. See you Monday morning.